I'm going to quickly review two models. One is called the Pyramid of Knowledge, and the other is the first step, identity, of the creative process model. Now, the Pyramid of Knowledge is an interesting model, and it started with a question. Do I know if Richard Nixon, President Richard Nixon, ever existed? Do I know that? And I don't. I can't. Never met him, never saw him. Don't know the circumstances. But does that mean that he didn't exist, or that I have to assume he didn't exist? So the Pyramid of Knowledge has 3 levels. And in the top level is a definition of knowledge that is of high criteria. Knowledge that a doctor would have in an operation. Knowledge that a scientist would have in writing an equation. In other words, it's been peer-reviewed. It is built on a set of observations and design assumptions that have been demonstrated over a long period of time being viable. So it's good science, good philosophy, good whatever. And it's based on direct experience with those models and with the phenomena that's being defined. So that is knowledge in its truest academic and practical sense. But of course, as we go through the world, if that's the only way we could say we knew something, that would be quite a remarkable thing. We could spend 99 years maybe studying, then step out of our house for a minute. So the second level of knowledge in the Pyramid of Knowledge is what you can say is reasonable assumptions. You may not know it in the way that you would know some things in the first level, but it's reasonable for me to assume that Richard Nixon existed because at the time, not so much now, but at the time, with all the tapes and everything you saw, it would have been a fantastic investment to have faked Richard Nixon into the White House and through 6 years of presidency. It would be unbelievable that could be pulled off. We're coming to a time where things like that are not so unbelievable because of our technology, which is why we need to be thinking about this subject a little bit. The third level of the Pyramid of Knowledge is the assumptions that you grew up with. And if you think about it, long before you even were told about critical analysis and the viability of information, you were already, 10, 9, 13, 20 years old. And the body of pieces of information and knowledge and in organized and unorganized form that you've occurred by that time is just a huge, huge amount. And so the important thing is not to go back and challenge every assumption you've ever had. But when you move into something which is important to you, to the planet, to the people you love and work with, and you run into old assumptions and ideas that somehow just don't look like they're all that good, they're no longer a good scaffolding for what you're doing, that's when you have to go back and trace out, where did I hear this? How did I learn this? How do I assume that? Is that still viable? Can I use it with a level of certainty that it is not tripping me up? So that's the way to think about that. When you look at the Pyramid of Knowledge then, notice that these are very small at the top, and they get a little larger, and then the bottom one is the largest yet. When we ask people to build their Pyramid of Knowledge, they are always, by the criteria that I've said here, they are always surprised to find out that the bottom part of the triangle is the massive one. Now, does that mean 1 is good, 2 is better, and 3 is terrible? No, all 3 are useful. all three are based on judgment. All three are really assumptions. But each level has a different criteria and a different way of coming about. What's important is that we know what we believe to be true, where it comes from. If I have an assumption in level 3 that I've held for 64 years of professional work, and I'm now working on something that challenges that, and it's critical to what I'm working on, I would want to drive it up to 2 or maybe even level 1. If it was engineering and lives were responsible, I would definitely want to be in level 1.